And we're live. Welcome to Total Body Lab Clients and Friends Biweekly Chat. My name is Katya Gorbacheva, and on the screen you see the wonderful friends and supporters of Total Body Lab team. And we are going to start with the last 2 weeks wins, and then go into challenges, talk about some topics that have been requested, namely the fatigue, the DOMS, how do you feel close to the meet, how to deal with those things, and related topics, and whatever people put in the Q&A. Caitlin's here too. Hi. Okay, we are gonna talk in the order of joining as always, and since David's microphone is muted, I guess I'm just gonna take a liberty of talking for him. His microphone is broken today, unfortunately. So David and I trained at his gym this week. We did some bench, actually twice this week, because we did a Sunday workout and a workout yesterday, which was super fun. Carol and Michelle came over on Sunday. We all did some cleans and some snatches and the shoulder presses, so kind of like all of the elements of Olympic lifting. We didn't do the jerks. We just got the barbell up to here or up to there. Yeah, and David was also, were you doing cleans or snatches yesterday? Can you show one or two, cleans or snatches? One. Okay, you were doing cleans. Great. Very fun. Yeah, so I think that was like the second or third time you were doing this. So they're pretty new in David's program. So it's always really fun to watch somebody learn a new movement, somebody who's really like experienced lifting, and then they try a new movement and you're like, oh my God. And the Olympic movements are really hard because they're dynamic. So they blew my mind a couple years ago when I tried them. So yeah, I hope you feel good today after doing all of that yesterday. Yay. Okay, great. Errol, how was your last week? How is life with you and your training? I know you have a lot.
Yeah, life has been okay. I've been forced to do my PT because my body is just in pain. I can't train if I'm hurting. So yeah, I think yesterday I started making sure that my lower back is getting some mobility and working on opening up my pecs for low bar squat. So I don't know. It's kind of a forced win, I guess. Sure, that's a win.
Yeah, you start doing PT. That's always a win. That's great. Awesome. Cool. How was your nutrition? Because you were kind of free flowing after the meet. What is it now?
It's getting back in line. Same thing. Like if I want to fuel my workouts properly, there's kind of no way around getting the right amount of sleep, water, and food. So yeah, back on.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm not tracking yet, but I'm ballparking.
Eating staples.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like even if you're not tracking, but like when you used to track for a while, when you go back to eating the same staples, it's like almost unnecessary. And you can do like tracking audits. So you can track like a week and then be like, oh, okay, I kind of know where I'm at. So I'm basically eating the same thing for the rest of the month. And then, or like you can do 2 days. And as long as your eating is relatively similar, then you're fine. Cool. Julie, what's up with you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Cool. I'd say, so in terms of things that have happened over the past couple of weeks, I set 2 PRs this week, which was really cool. So a PR on squats, which was awesome, 165 pounds, which, was, I know I can do more. I was so tempted to like add some 2.5 pound plates.
I see her smiling. Yeah, we're gonna go into that later, into adding more. Mm-hmm.
But I didn't do it because I got yelled at last time when I did that. So, but that was cool. And it's nice to lift that much and know that I can do more. So, I also PR'd on bench. I got 125 pounds on that, that was a big one because I've been kind of not really stagnating on bench, but it felt like I was because I'm impatient as a human being. But in terms of kind of struggles, I would say there were kind of 2 big ones. The first one is just like we were trying snatches. We've been trying to do snatches, and I've been having a lot of trouble getting the bar behind my head. I think I have some like mobility limitations there in terms of like my shoulders, and definitely some constraints in my back. So that was kind of lame. But another thing that happened was my knee was having some issues when I was doing sumo deadlifts. I want to say a couple days ago. It's still a little bit tender from that. So I'm trying to just be easy on it. Went for a walk today and it felt fine. So that's good. I don't think it's injured or anything, but it's definitely a little bit grumpy. So it's a couple of things that, you know, kind of made it a little hard this past week.
Is grumpy after a walk?
No, it wasn't grumpy. Thank goodness. But when I sit down and, you know, I'm trying not to like cross my legs and stuff. If I sit and cross my legs, it gets grumpy.
Yeah, that's interesting. My knees get grumpy if I sit on my knees. Like if I sit on the floor and I'm not sitting like this in the lotus pose, but if I fold the knees underneath my body like this, because the body pressure is right on top of them, like it's guaranteed terrible squats next day. Guaranteed knees are going to hurt. Like it's just, you know, not good. So I'm glad you're noticing those things. Yeah, congrats on the PRs. I'm glad you're excited. I'm super glad you didn't add weight. I also wanted to throw a disclaimer that those are like kind of intermediate PRs, like because we're not trying to max right now. We're still like in the middle of the program where I haven't deloaded you for anything. We haven't done any like testing. You know, we're probably not going to test up until like 2-3 weeks before your meet. So brace yourself and keep doing as awesome as you're doing. I know, because I know you're impatient. I am too. You're like looking up all of these mobility things that could help you. And I know I do the same. Cool. Who joined next? I think it was Caitlin. Yay. Me. Hi, Caitlin.
Hello. So wins for the past couple weeks. I feel like my bench press is finally starting to like come along. Like I definitely felt weakest there at first, and now I feel good almost all the time. The only problem is I seem like my right shoulder seems to like this all gets weak before the rest of me. So I feel like this is kind of holding me back a little bit. It's not like a huge issue. Like I feel like I can still reach the weight that I'm set to do, but I can definitely see it being an issue moving on. I haven't felt sore other than that. It's really just that. And then I noticed my biggest struggle has been time just because of work right now. Like some days I'm working like 10 to 12 hour days, and it's like today I work 10 hours. Like it's just been hard to like fit the workouts in. But I've been trying to make that a priority. So
yeah, I feel you. I'm curious, how many hours does everybody else work? Raise your hand if you work about 8 hours a day. Nobody. Raise your hand. Oh, okay. Harsh. Okay. I can't see Carol. I can see Michelle. Okay. Raise your hand if you work 9 hours a day. 10. Errol. Okay. 10 hours a day. Okay. I'm probably around with you. I work like 10 or 11 hours a day, probably. I pretty much work. Oh, okay. I see Michelle. Carol, how much do you work? Dear, how much do you work? You're like not raising hands. You work less?
He walked away.
I walked away. I mean, I work 40 to 45 hours a week. So
okay, cool.
Hours a day. Like today I worked about 10 hours because it's statement day. So it's been a rough day today, but typically it's 8 to 8.5 hours a day.
Yeah, that's nice. David, can you show fingers? How many hours do you work a day? On an average day, if we average it per week. I know it's uneven for you. I think David's trying to type. Anyways, we'll see what he says in the chat. Okay, cool. Caitlin, sorry for interruption. You work a lot. It's tough, but you feel strong. You're not sore. You recover well. It's just the shoulder that's kind of bothering you, right? Yeah. So out of all things, doesn't sound too terrible to me, given how close you were to the meet. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Awesome. Harsh, what's up with you? What's new with you?
Yeah. Last week was hectic work-wise, and I was pretty crap with respect to tracking food. I did eat. I just haven't logged. So yeah, that happened, but I get back on it. Respect to lifting, I realized that I'm being, told to work out 3 times a week, which I'm not used to, and my body is not used to the breaks. And I realized that when I don't lift as much, I just like lose focus and get grumpy in life. So I need to add more things like basic cardio, um, to make sure that like my mood remains stable, focus remains stable. So that's what I did.
Mood?
Yeah, I just get grumpy. Like I don't realize it. Like I spent 2 days not working out, and at the end of the second day, I'm like just very irritable, just unsatisfied. I don't know. I just need to do something.
Okay, I see. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going on. I am very, like Julie was saying, tempted to just lift far more than what is prescribed all the time, but I'm not.
Good, because you've tried before. And how did that turn out for you?
When did I try before?
Oh, you tried to add multiple times, actually. You were in India once, and then like something didn't work with deadlifts, and so you did something else. And then you did the deadlift thing again when you came back. I don't remember what you had programmed. Maybe you had like singles or it was more volume. I don't remember if you did more weights or more reps. I think it was more reps because you were like, yeah, I just felt good, so I want to do more. And then we were doing a test the week after, and you didn't pull, and you called me almost crying, like this was a number lower than before.
Entirely my bad. That was just poor prep. I just took whatever you gave me for granted. I was like, okay, I got this, and I didn't sleep well and didn't eat well. And yeah, on reflection, I panicked. Shouldn't have panicked. I don't think it was well. It was just poor prep.
Central nervous system recovery also, right?
Right. I don't know. But yeah.
Wait. No, I'm telling you, it's not just that. Like, it's not just sleep. Sleep is like the base minimum. Sleep and food is the base minimum. But like on top of that, if you're overtrained, you can't do that every time. So we're gonna jump into this in a second. Well, what else have you got for last week? What other ones?
That's about it.
Okay, cool. Michelle, Carol.
So, I mean, my weight's still going down, which is the most important thing to me. So that's a win. Losses, I didn't drink as much water this week. I struggled. The more I work, the less I drink. Like today, I haven't even had a half a gallon of water yet. And I usually have a half a gallon by lunch. So I was doing, again, statement day at work. Totally, it's what happens on the first couple of days of the month. But beyond that, I mean, that's really, I've struggled to get all the stuff in, like cardio. I tend to just skip the cardio after working out I just skip it. So I haven't done much cardio at all. So I need to do that, and I need to stretch more. Your turn.
Okay. So for me, I finally hit 10 pounds down. Yay.
Yay.
So it stays there. I felt good pretty much all week. I've been busy, so workouts, maybe I haven't had as much energy as I could have for those, but they still felt good. So we keep notes on that.
I was muted and asking questions. Cool. I was saying, how did you like the Swole Sunday shenanigans?
That was fun. Yeah. I talked to the owner of our gym, trying to get him to get one of those reverse hyper things.
It's hard to get. A lot of gyms don't have it, so you have to like.
That was cool.
Organize it yourself. Attach some weight to your feet somehow. There's a monkey grip. It's like a device that you step into. and then
Yeah.
it like grabs the weight if you step into the weight after that. So you can do that, and then just like lay on the bench or lay in a normal hyper, but it's not as comfortable, of course, as a reverse hyper. And yeah,
Yeah.
Are your backs okay after the reverse hyper?
Mine was a little sore.
I was a little sore, but it was fine.
Yeah. I did something to my rib.
Laying on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
more sore than anything. But thank you, David.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, awesome ones from last week. We have a lot of things to discuss. I don't know what topic you want to jump into first. I guess I'll just go into whatever Harsh kind of touched upon in terms of like, if I can do 100%, like, I don't know, every day or every other day or every week on whatever the movement, why don't I do that every time if I can recover, right? That was your question? Yeah. Well, the main answer is central nervous system. Like, you may think you can recover in terms of in terms of your just individual muscles, but tendons tend to recover slower, ligaments tend to recover slower. Whenever you just load your body up in different ways, at different angles, different like if you're doing incline bench, decline bench, or variations of squat, deadlift, it's just your body just needs a break, even if you're young and strong as a bull. It did frustrate me a little bit when I was bodybuilding and I would have like 5 or 6 workouts a week and cardio, and then I would get like 3 or 4 with powerlifting. It's just a different style of training, I would say, right? Like CrossFit people train for like 45 minutes, right? And they somehow get everything done, right? They manage to warm up and practice a couple of the movements from the WOD, and then do the WOD within like, I don't know, 15, 20, however long they have, and then cool down and foam roll and go home, right? I don't know. For me, it's not enough. Like powerlifting kind of hits the spot in terms of like my personality, because I would rather like focus on the main lift and do that. And if you're not maxing, you could be also like focusing on form, right? You could be hammering some things out like your squat depth or your strongest position at the bottom of the deadlift, right? If you have hard time, if your sticking point is the floor, right, which is yours, it's tough. So you could be working on other things. And when you're doing 100%, it's really hard to work on like components of the movement, because you just need to put all of the energy in it. So yeah, let me see what Alexi said. I asked him to give some input for us. He says hi, by the way. Alexi is my coach and Harsh's coach. And he says basically the cyclical type of workouts, right? If you train light, heavy, and medium, allows you to grow the best, and the desire to be strong during each individual workout doesn't get you the strongest in long term, right? So when you periodize, and I don't mean a workout is light, I mean the movement is light, right? Let's take squat and program squat separately than programming bench and deadlift, right? So when you program those cyclically, you tend to recover better rather than just hitting 100% every time. I hope that makes sense. Questions? Kind of made sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, and then like, for example, if you are going to compete, right? Like Julie and Caitlin are going to compete soon. We typically like increase the loading pretty heavy. So Caitlin, you may have noticed like your numbers are still going up in pretty much every movement, right? In squat and bench and dead. Everything is going up. And you're still not doing singles, really. So it's a lot of volume, and you may take longer breaks. You may be doing like doubles and triples. I mean, it depends on the person, depends on the personality. You could be doing heavy singles and then like doing back off sets. Like I think that's what Errol was doing before the majority of his meets. Is he was hitting some heavy stuff, and then taking a huge amount of weight off the barbell, and then continue with his volume for the rest of the set, whatever it may be, squat, bench, deadlift, just to get that volume in. But yeah, you get pretty close to the meet. Everything is heavy. You could test, or maybe you don't test. I think with Caitlin and Julie, we're probably going to test maxes just so you feel comfortable. You know where you stand. Because otherwise, it's like you go into the meet and you're like, I don't know. I've never touched X, Y, or Z weight. How am I going to know? Like you tell me to put 20 more pounds on the barbell that I've ever touched. And it can be just scary. So like with people who haven't competed before, I like to test just to get y'all comfortable. And then you deload and, you know, do like 2 light workouts a week or 3 light workouts a week and roll into the meet relatively rested, central nervous system wise. But you still need to do something the week before, evenly spaced. I wanted to ask Errol, because he competed recently. How did you feel right before the meet, like the day before, you know, a couple of days before, a week before, you know, because your fatigue was just like building up to an exorbitant amount. And I remember how tough it was.
Yeah. So I'm lagging a little bit. Just let me know if I cut out. But yeah, maybe 3 weeks out, even like a month out. It was just super painful. Fatigue was crazy. Motivation was low. But yeah, I know that's part of the process. I would see other people go into meet prep like after this meet. I would hear them complain about the same things, and I'm just like smiling because like I know like the meet prep is working. It's kind of how it's supposed to be. So yeah, if your body's not having any discomfort, you might not be going through the change necessary to perform at your best on meet day. Maybe like 2 or 3 days out, that's when I started to recover. I think it's just best case scenario to trust the process and trust your coach. I don't know what they're doing. You know, it just depends on your own programming, but they're most likely paying attention to like a decrease in volume so that your body can recover and perform at its best on meet day. And you're muted, Katya.
Yeah, you're on mute, Katya.
Sorry, I'm trying not to create like extra noise when someone's talking. Thanks. Yeah, probably during every single meet that I've done, I did not feel great. A week out, 2 weeks out, like it's just that fatigue. A week and 2 or 3 is just a lot. So normally during the workouts, most people feel more energy after the workout, right? You feel kind of fatigued, but you're kind of like energized because you just lifted. I know, like David told me, he has a hard time falling asleep if he like finishes the workout and has something to eat, and it's like, okay, I'll be up half the night. So yeah, I feel that too, but right, like before the meet, it's pretty tiring. Usually I could just go to bed right away and like forget to eat dinner, which is not good. You should eat your dinner. Not at a cost of sleep, but yeah, the routine is important. Hours of waking up, hours of going to bed, relatively same amount of food. Yeah. What else did we have in there? Julie, you asked a question in the chat. Let me double check. You are very sore, and you would love to hear people's goals if you want to share. Weight loss, strength gains, that'd be cool to hear what everybody's working towards. Yeah. I know Michelle recently changed her goal or added on a goal. So our goal with Michelle and Carol was primarily weight loss, but we're still lifting weights, and Carol cares about bench a lot. The other movements are like, they're there. We train them. We're having fun. And I feel like, oh my God, we're progressing. Like, let's test, or maybe let's test in a couple of weeks, see where we're at. But I understand that just being agile and healthy and full of energy and losing a little bit of weight is the most important to you. But Michelle recently added another thing. That's a performance goal. That's very exciting.
So I gained about 50 pounds when COVID hit. So I'm trying to lose all that weight. And then I added to focus on bench. I think we're frozen.
Your image is frozen, but your
I
sound.
don't know if you heard any of that.
Yes, actually.
Okay, good.
What's your bench now, like ish, if you were to kind of like guesstimate your max?
You know, I honestly don't know. It's been a while since I tested. 105, probably.
Okay. Do you have any like numbers in your head, like Julie? You know, some people get hung up on numbers. We all, I feel like, are kind of.
I've always been hung up on numbers, but I'm trying not to do that because I just disappoint myself because I put unrealistic things. So I want to be higher than 105. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. Solid. Yeah. David,
I think I solved the mic problem by using headphones. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi, David.
Hi. It turns out my internet connection is now super unstable, so that may be a problem, but I got the mic fixed. So I'm training for nationals for deadlift, and you know, I really don't have a number in my head. I mean, numbers are nice, but like my main goal is just to do the workouts, and the number will be what the number is going to be. I mean, I can say I want to lift 5,000 kilos, but that's not going to make me lift it, right? Just all I can do is do the workouts, and then I lift what I lift. And, you know, that number keeps going up, so it works. And then my main goal is to just eat enough, which is like almost impossible because I'm eating like all the time. Just all the time, and I hate it. But
Yeah. Is anybody happy with how much they're eating?
Oh yeah, never eat enough.
Okay.
I'm just happy that like because I'm lifting and putting on muscle that I'm eating just as much as I want, but I'm not gaining weight. So
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
You lost a lot of weight.
I think I only lost it varies. So I lose between like 5 and 7 usually. I'm not like, because I'm not counting it that much anymore, I'm not dropping, but like I can tell like my inches are changing. I'm just not, the scale's not really moving. So I don't really pay attention because I still feel like I'm getting stronger, and that's all I really care about right now.
Yeah. That's nice. I really like the performance aspect of it, how you just kind of care about how you look, but like if you just notice that you look a little bit better every day, you're like, it's okay. I'm moving in the right direction. Like the workouts are going to take care of themselves. That's nice. Anybody wants to jump on that thought?
I relate. Yeah, I was working on fat loss before with a different coach and realized that was not what I wanted and wasn't satisfying to me, but I still care about it. And so it's a very similar situation for me, I think, as you, Caitlin. Like my weight has been like the last, I want to say 3 months, maybe just plus or minus 1 pound of the same weight. But I'm getting some serious strength gains. And so I'm like, whatever, I know I'm recomping on some level. It may take forever for me to like, I don't even know what the end goal would be in terms of my physique, if there even is one or should be one. But I know I'm moving in the right direction with my strength, and I'm clearly not eating too much, which is weird. So I relate.
Okay, you mentioned working on physique, even though you're a powerlifter.
I think it just, it matters for girls to look good, even if we're not bodybuilders.
Matters for everybody to look good.
Yeah, I'm trying to redefine for myself what looking good means.
Right.
So I think this process is helping me in that way because, doing the lifts and everything, I'm like looking at myself, I'm like, oh, my delts are kind of, popping, and that's pretty cool. So I'm trying to like change that mindset of it doesn't matter how small you are, it matters what you can do. And having a body that looks functional, I think to me is really what I want.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's different for people from different backgrounds, right? Like you can come from the genetic pool where people store more fat on their bodies or less fat on their bodies, or fat in different areas where like you won't see your delts because you store more fat in the upper body. Or like I will never see my abs unless I've lost my period. Like I'm that lean usually because that's just I'm an apple shaped. I will just not see abs. And there's not a lot of reasons to see abs. I think if you have watched Danny's and mine podcast that came out like 2 days ago, yeah, we talk about the reasons like to just be ultra lean and how people want the best of both worlds. And like a lot of my new clients, they would be like, I would ask them, hey, so do you want to get strong or do you want to look good? And they're like, both, please, like 2-day shipping. And I'm like, yeah, but what's more important to you? And it's so hard to squeeze that out of people. Like it's just ridiculous that now you lift, you understand that it's really hard. Like some people are just trying super hard to, I feel like it's the bottom right corner of our stream. We're trying super hard not to get super fat and like just stay in maintenance or maybe lose a little bit if we have a little too much fat. And David and Harsh are like, I hate eating. I can't just eat enough. Oh, that's too funny.
Whatever you have is what you don't want, like the skinny guys, like everyone's like, oh, you're so lucky, you're so skinny. And you're like, yeah, and I like can't fill out a shirt. And then the people that tend to gain weight, they're like, oh, it's like the exact opposite. No one wants whatever they've got. So you just got to make peace with it. Be like, look,
Right.
I have an advantage that like I don't get fat easily, but it's going to be harder for me to eat what I got to eat. It's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's hard to gain strength if it's harder for you to get fat as well. So that's a fact. Yeah. Did anybody listen to the podcast, by the way? I'm curious. With Danny, vegan proteins. Okay. Well, it's on there. Say that again.
Oh, I just listened to it actually during my cardio walk.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. Yeah, it came out only a couple of days ago. It's on their channel. So it's on Vegan Proteins, YouTube, and like Spotify, everything. Yeah. I still can't believe. Thank you. I still can't believe that like they invited me. I mean, we're on the same team and all, but they're like actual celebrities and OGs of vegan fitness. So super cool. I don't know who else is going to be on the powerlifting team this year, by the way. It's probably the same people as last year on the vegan strong plant built. But if you know some strong vegans, please let me know because we need more people if they're still not like done with the application process. So
Yeah, Ryan finally got back to me today about that. He says we're trying to figure out how many people they can have on the team.
oh, who said that?
Ryan Stills.
Okay, nice. Okay, solid.
Yeah, he got back to me too. He said I'm on the reserve list. So, I mean, I haven't done a competition yet, so I can understand that. That makes sense.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys messaged him because I've messaged them about you guys too. Yeah. A friend of mine knows a vegan lifter who's like extremely strong, but it's a natty competition and she wanted to do PDs. It's a personal choice. So she can't do that with us because it's a natty competition. So yeah, power to her. She's very vegan, very ethical, but that's what she wanted to do. Cool. Any other goal sharing, y'all? I can share my goals if you want. Yay. Okay.
For it.
Not going to the nationals. I'm going to Mr. America with plan built. Hopefully opening with 3 red plates. That would be sick.
I guess I could share my goals.
Oh, damn. Errol's lagging. I'm sorry. I already started. I'm going to unmute after this. Unmute you after this and you can share. Sorry. Cool. So, yeah, I want to squat starting with 3 red plates if that's possible. So that's 172 and a half or 175? Yeah, 175. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Is that like
2.5.
or like close? What is that in pounds?
Sorry? What's that
that?
in pounds? That's a good question. Let me calculate. Kilograms, 172 and a half. That is
A little over 380.
All right.
Well, I don't know. It's just I got inzers and they feel good. Thank you, Errol, for giving me those wonderful knee sleeves. I got myself a small size. If that's what the majority of the people are going to be using, I'm going to be using them. So I squatted my opener from October for a triple, like 3 times, and it was fine. And it was 336 in pounds, the 152 and a half. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to get there. But again, if we're getting hung up on numbers, I'm that person too, right? I see what looks cool. Oh, 3 red plates, yay. Anyways, benching 100 would be great. I don't think I'm gonna get there by October though. We shall see. And pulling, yeah, 3 red plates and some change would be cool. But again, it's a tight goal for me because I feel like I just fixed my deadlift kind of after taking a break for my knees. So we shall see. And if I can do it in a weight class lower than 75, so in 67.5, that'd be cool because yeah, I feel great in the body and everything's cool, but it's also for promoting veganism and we're going to take pictures and everybody's going to flex and half the team's bodybuilders and CrossFitters and like Daniel Austin visited and we worked out. And I was like, what do you have left? Because we both do squats and deadlift. He's like, yeah, bicep curls. And I'm like, why? You're a power lifter. Like, do you pull switch grip? Why do you have bicep curls? And he's like, yeah, because y'all take pictures and you do this. And it looks good. And I'm a small guy. So, like, sorry, but I do biceps and shoulders sometimes. And I get that. So, yeah, that's the same reason why I'm going to try to go a weight class lower. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I still look good. But, yeah. And I'm also doing a ton of edge fests. So people value what they see. It's a swipe society, right? Swipe left, swipe right. If you don't look super lean, you know, they're like, are you even an athlete? And to people who are athletes, they see that I'm an athlete. They see my legs, they see my butt, they see my back. To people who are not athletes, bodybuilders look more athletic because muscle shows more. So they look more toned, lean, whatever the words people, you know, value. So whatever. Anyways, I talked too much. Errol, you wanted to share.
Yeah, I can share. Sorry, my goals are kind of the antithesis of yours. I don't really. God, I've been bodybuilding like just as a casual gym bro for like, I don't know, 13 years. I never wanted to compete. I never cared so much about vanity. It kind of puts you in a mental prison because you're always trying to perfect what you look like. And I just wanted something to do. And it's the only thing I really cared to do that I could do consistently. I got tired of that, started powerlifting. Sure, there's some numbers I'd like to hit, but just depends on how much time I have to train before I compete again. My training, getting all that stuff done, how well my bulk goes. I've already been training for quite some time. So the first time I started powerlifting versus, you know, my next competition might not be that much different because I've, you know, even though I didn't train for strength, I've done quite a bit of training. So yeah, I mean, I try not to have concrete goals. I just try to make sure that every time I go into the gym, just giving it everything I got and listen to my coach.
Yeah, that's how I feel like I've been doing it for the longest time. But Julie asked for more like concrete goals that motivate us. So yeah, I love going to the gym, but I also love being able to look forward to envisioning myself with more weight on the bar, and that weight that looks like something that I could never imagine. So it's
Sure.
valuable to me. It's valuable to some other people who have concrete goals. If it's not valuable to you at the moment, that's cool. The process
Sure.
is
Yeah.
great.
I mean, mostly like the goal for me is just curiosity, just to see how strong I am. I think, or how strong I can get. But another goal is just to meet people. Like powerlifting is a place where I met people. That was a goal for me. It wasn't necessarily weight, but if I have to come up with a concrete weight, I think maybe this year, if low bar goes well, I think 584 on squat. Anything above 363 on bench, and maybe 617 on deadlift. I think that might qualify me for nationals. I'm not really sure, but I think my goal would probably be go to States next year. So stay in my weight class too. 825 is where I feel healthiest.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. So what other people just don't see how you train, right? They don't see like what enjoying the process and trusting the process and trusting the coach is for you. So I think the reason why Julie was asking that is just like to see where everybody stands, what everybody's doing, like how do you decide to do stuff, right? Like Julie, what was your thinking in terms of asking? Because you're also not about vanity at all, and not about like, oh, let me go get a prize. Like you're asking about that from some other angle.
Yeah, I think for me, first of all, it's okay to not have a goal. I think if you just want to go and lift and have someone program your lifts and go do what they program for you, I think that's fine. But based on our calls, it seems like we have a lot of goal-oriented people here, and it's just interesting to me to see kind of what motivates people, and it helps me to be a little bit more introspective about myself, because I'm always reevaluating, like, is this what I want? Am I happy doing this? Do I want to keep doing this? And so far the answer is yes. But sometimes people, if they have a different motivation or they get something different out of it, it might help me to appreciate the sport in a different way, or be more motivated to get to a certain point than I would have otherwise been. So it's kind of a selfish question, but I figure talking about it would help other people too.
Yeah, I agree. It's also important to talk about mental health improvements that a lot of us gain through lifting. Yeah. Anybody?
Yeah, I definitely feel better after I've worked out. And also talk on the same kind of thing as mental health and goals. Like I kind of feel like I don't have a solid like weight that I'm going for, but I do notice that I get like excited about thinking about going to a meet, thinking about lifting in front, like the competition aspect. Although I don't feel like I want to necessarily be competitive, like performing in front of other people is like exciting. I mean, maybe it's slightly an adrenaline rush. I don't know, but I find that to be part of the fun. And then every workout is just, well, I'm trying to be my best for that time. So even though I don't have a number in mind, like that's kind of my motivation.
Yeah.
Well, I can say a few things maybe. Yeah, it impacts mental health to me in that I was saying earlier. If I don't get some physical activity, like I went to visit my family in December, and I was away from like my regular working out stuff, and like they're very conscious. Shit, we have to spend time with Harsh. Let's make sure he has access to a gym because he gets unbearable after some time if he's like not active. So like it's we need to be doing something, otherwise I'm unhappy.
That's really funny.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I'm also.
I'll say that. And sorry.
I guess I'll just like I didn't answer Julie's initial question. What motivates me? Numbers. That's a short answer. But like it didn't start off that way. I started off like really scrawny, like 110 pounds and like completely incapable of gaining weight. And like the first time I went to the gym, I couldn't bench the barbell, and like that was my goal, just benching the barbell. Then like I drowned in mass gainers and I gained some weight, and then I was like, all right, I'm done with this shit. Like I hate gaining weight, tough and unpleasant. But now I just want to deadlift 4 times body weight. I guess that's my big goal when I get
Nice.
those.
Nice. David.
Yeah, I mean, I said I didn't have any numbers in mind because I kind of do and I kind of don't. But whatever I lift, like I'm really excited about it. Like I set a new PR a couple weeks ago on deadlift, and like I'm super excited about it for like 3 minutes, and then it's like, okay, that's yesterday's news. Like no, like that's like the new floor. Like it doesn't matter. There's no end.
Yeah.
Like
that's
there's
a good
always
point.
more weight in the gym. So whatever I can lift, it's like I just want to lift more than that next time. You know, it's like because when I first started, I thought, you know, I just wanted to do it to have general strength and be reasonable. And I thought, you know, if I deadlift 315 pounds for all practical purposes, I never need to lift more than that, right? Because when in life would that ever occur, right? It just isn't going to happen. But the second I lifted 3 plates, I was like, cool, like let's put more weight on it. Like it just doesn't matter. Like whatever it is, I just want to put more weight on it. So
Addictive.
Yeah, I relate to that. And I think, you know, the more we talk about it, the more I'm kind of thinking about being a vegan woman, having just listened to your podcast, Katya. And I think Danny had said that you were the first female powerlifter they ever had on the podcast. And I was like,
Yes.
how many vegan female powerlifters exist? Like when you draw the Venn diagram of like,
Yeah.
you know, the overlap is like microscopic of who fits in all of that. And we have, you know, a bunch of us here together. And I think that's really cool to like use that as an opportunity to represent veganism, and especially for women, because it's kind of a double whammy, right? Like more women tend to be vegan, but also more women tend to shy away from strength sports because they don't want to look too masculine or whatever. So I think it's really cool to have the opportunity to kind of get in that little niche area and go represent to a group of people who could be really impacted by what we do, you know?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, on Plant Build, we have 2 women. It's Brittany and I. That's it. So it's funny how like Danny thinks I'm strong, and I'm like, no, like you go to any meet, there will be women who blow me out of the water. Like, do you go to meets? And she goes to meets. She knows, she sees, but I guess she sees it through the vegan people lens, among which there's more people who just eat only fruit or eat only vegetables, like maybe some tofu. And it's like, that's cool. It's great for you for like longevity purposes. But if you're a strength athlete, you definitely need more food, more fats, more protein, you know, more nutrients across the board. Space that out. Make sure you're getting training in. I mean, yeah. So you're right. Cool. Folks who did not have time to ask a question in the group chat or before, that was the time. All right. Add any other thoughts?
I know we talked a little bit about this in the chat, about like nagging pain in various places. I'd love to know kind of, Katya, it's obviously hard to generalize because every body part and situation is different, but can you maybe talk a little bit about how you deal with like nagging pains? Like, do you lift lighter? Do you take days off? Do you foam roll? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you kind of approach that?
That depends on where. Like, for example, Errol and I just talked about his pain before the last meet, I think, or the meet before last. So he had a shoulder, maybe injury, maybe just pain. We don't know. But it was just really tight and really tough to lift. So his coach switched him from the grip on the barbell that's, you know, the standard grip to I call it DNA bar. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically, it looks like a bunch of different grips at different angles, right? So he could have a neutral grip. That's a lot easier on the shoulder. So for example, I'm not sure, Caitlin, if you have that bar. I don't think you do, right? Where you can grip neutral that you can bench with. No. Okay. Well,
I mean, but it would still be like, it wouldn't be straight up and down.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, added to the list of the New Year's and birthdays and whatever the presents that your family can give you gift cards for. That could be that bar. It's super useful. It's really nice for the leaving shoulders alone, for example, if you have nagging pain in the shoulder. Where are you talking about? Knees, Julie?
Well, mine's knee. I know Caitlin has a shoulder thing. Other people might have other stuff, but I would imagine knees and shoulders are probably like the two big things in powerlifting that bother people the most chronically.
Lower back.
Oh, lower back. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like after you go over like a certain threshold of deadlifting in terms of, I don't know, weight proportion to how much your body can handle, it's just gonna complain. Like my lower back it's not complaining right now, but like it used to, because I feel like I fixed my form a little bit and just overall got stronger, got more mobile in my thoracic, more mobile in ankles. Yeah, overall, probably the reason why I did some ollie 2 years ago is because I wanted to develop more mobility in the hips and ankles, and it just forced me to. I wanted to develop more strength in shoulders. That's why I did handstands. It was not useful for my powerlifting at all in terms of like the total going up at all. It went down. My shoulders I could not bench. Like I could bench and I would just die very little. My coach was unhappy that I was doing all this extra crap. And I told him like, hey, Alexi, so I want your friend Sasha to program me ollie. And then I want my friend Natasha to program me handstands. And he was like, you don't want to powerlift? I'm like, no, I want to do this, but like on Monday I'm gonna do this, and then like spread the handstands thing. So it was too much. It was a lot. I did not get injured because I'm young and strong, but anyways, like I guess changing activity. Quicker response, Julie. Incorporating different activities and different types of sports and movements overall helps longevity, helps not get injured, helps stay like the healthiest for life. But if you pick a niche sport and you want to get the best at that sport, you just zone in and hammer away at that sport and eliminate any problems that arise on the way, such as lower mobility. Okay, injury here, let's recover this, get back to it. So yeah, mobility probably is the answer if you're talking knees. If you're talking probably knees or lower back, it's mainly mobility in the adjacent joints. Right? If you have low mobility in the thoracic and low mobility in the hips, your lower back is going to suffer. If you have low mobility in the hips and in the ankles, what's in between? Knees. So that, and just weakness of tendons and ligaments because they don't get strong as quick as muscles do, and as quick as you want. Shoulders are a little different story. But yeah, we talked about that.
I mean, it's also important not to push through some pain versus knowing when to push through. I did not know that. And I am a little stubborn and will push through pain because I feel like that's, what I need to do. And you can really injure yourself if you're trying to push through everything.
And I'm the opposite. I've learned, specifically with my shoulders, because I've had lots of shoulder issues. I've had frozen shoulder multiple times. I had 2 surgeries on my shoulder in 1 year. I had a bicep tenodesis where the bicep that comes up here, they actually cut it and reattached it down there. So I'm constantly dealing with shoulder issues, and all the doctors told me that it's inflamed and to not push through it. If it hurts, stop immediately, because I was struggling getting rid of that inflammation. So for me personally, I'm not saying that's everybody. I know I struggle with inflammation. It might be the diabetes. I don't know. But for me, if it feels like tendon or joint pain, that's when I tend to back off. If it feels more like muscle, then I kind of push through. And that's how I gauge it. And with my shoulder, I just kind of got to take it easy. Like I can't do heavy bench for. Happy with my 135 for 2 the other day, and it felt pretty easy. So,
We might be frozen again.
huh? Is everyone gone?
They might hear us.
I don't know.
We are hearing you. Yeah, thanks, Carol. That's a really valid point. And also, Carol didn't mention immediately from when we started training together, she let me know about her injuries and about her shoulder things, and that she only squats with an SSB bar. And Michelle let me know about her knee issues. So another thing some people do is they just like get a coach and start lifting. They don't let them know about all of the injuries and problems and like their tendencies. So like some people tend to go too crazy. Some people tend to go to a little lighter. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the info. That helps.
Cool. Anybody else wants to share any stories on lifting and injuries and recovery and the pain? The fun stuff. Cool. Questions. I feel like we talked about so many things, and probably the majority of the stuff that were asked in the group chat got covered.
I'll ask a very quick question that's not going to be so quick maybe, but I'll try. So directed to Errol. Errol, you said that you don't have number goals. But like what you have as a goal is to like go as hard as you can at the gym when you go. How do you manage that, I guess, like going hard while following, like RPE 7? How do you say that that's going hard when you know you can do RPE 8, like mentally?
Okay, so my feed is kind of slow. I think you said, how do I manage going so hard all the time? So I'm not going hard all the time. I'm not going RPE 10 all the time, or not listening to my coach. I'm doing the workouts to the T. If it says RPE 7 or 60%, then I'm doing that, but I'm completing all my workouts and trying to do as much as I can to perfect my form. I'll try to be explosive, even if it's like 60%, but I mean, that's just personally how I train. Yeah, I have some gumption when I'm training, but yeah, I'm still listening to my coach. I'm not going like 100% all the time. That's not possible for humans. So yeah, I just try to be consistent.
Yeah, it was more like the mental question, like how do you yeah, but okay,
Yeah.
you focus on other things. That makes sense.
Yeah, I have to redefine my why many times. I think when I started lifting, I was, much younger, and I was lifting for school. And then I got out of school. I started lifting because, people would say I looked small. And then I got into powerlifting because, I was tired of bodybuilding. So if I lose focus or if I'm not motivated, I always just change the reason why I'm doing it. Before I wanted to compete. Now I've competed. Well, what do I want to do? I want to see how strong I can get for me, or just stay healthy. There could be many reasons, and your motivations can always change, but I think that's fine. But you should always revisit that, in my opinion. So it might be different for you, but I think the important thing is to always try to find something to be motivated, if you can, right? Or discipline helps.
That's a good answer. I like that you mentioned explosiveness, Errol. Harsh, that's something to keep in mind. I mean, blowing through your sticking points quicker. So wherever that is in the squat or bench, you don't really have a sticking point in deadlift. It's the floor, right? But in squat and bench, there are sticking points. Blowing through that more like straighter, more consistent, exploding off the bottom, keeping the bar path straight. There's so many things that you could think about and work on that are not percent max, right? Every time. Getting each rep look exactly the same as your other rep. Not just getting the weight up, but getting them exactly the same, right? Like those things really matter. And that's how you really iron out and perfect your lifts in the long term.
Like for sure. So if, for example, if you're going like 60%, you can actually put out more force production versus like 70 or 80% if you're moving it faster, right? So that's what I meant by, I guess, intensity, just giving it everything.
I think you can also reframe it like going as hard as you can doesn't necessarily mean going as physically hard as you can. I mean, part of it is like being as disciplined as possible to like get your sleep, right? Like people say, oh man, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to bust my ass in the gym. It's like, are you going to bed at 8 o'clock? No. Well, then you're not really doing it so hard, are you? Right? Like those ends of it count just as much as the more, you know, macho stuff or whatever. So it's like, if you can reframe it like I'm working really hard because I'm putting my ass to bed at 8, then, you know, it's a different way to look at it.
I love that. I love that. Or am I eating all my food, Harsh? See, the hardest things are not always on the bar. It's everything. That's awesome. I love that as a finishing thought of our conversation. Thanks, David. Cool. And I hear the dog agree. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for a super fun and productive chat. I am going to remove everybody from the stream now, and feel free to drop off whenever you like after that. So thank you again for joining, everybody. Bye, David. Bye, Julie. Bye, Errol. Bye, Caitlin. Bye, Harsh. And bye, Michelle and Carol. Thank you guys so much for chatting into the Total Body Lab team chat. We have it live every other Thursday, and you're welcome to send me questions in advance or join us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, or send me questions on any of those social medias that you would like to be answered here. So I prepare a little bit better and hope to see you in 2 weeks at 6 p.m. EST. Have a great evening. Bye.